Hello and welcome to Spectrum Protect Plus offload demo. In this demo, we will cover what is an offload, briefly talk about the different types of offload, modifying existing SLA to offload VMs, and finally restore a VM from the offloaded copy. With that, let's go into what is an optimized offload. Now, you might have various questions in your head like, why do I want to offload? What's the problem I'm solving with offload? And how does all this, things tie up together with Spectrum Protect Plus? To address some of these questions, we built Offload to address the challenge of balancing long-term retention demands at optimal cost. Now, the term offload may sound like it's misleading because it sounds like we are moving something from one place to another. In fact, we are making copies to lower cost S3 storage repositories and give you the ability to set longer retention policies for those copies. The best news is that with this version of Spectrum Protect Plus, you can quickly recover from either on your higher speed tier, which is vSnap in this case, in this diagram as you see, or your cost from your optimized tier, which is the object storage in this case. Now we have enabled two offload classes in this case, which is S3, which covers the the IBM cause, the cause worm, Amazon S3, and the Azure Blob Storage, and then the second one, which is a repository, which you see in here, which is more to do with IBM Spectrum Protect. With that, let's dive into the demo and cover the backup and restore scenarios. Now in this demo, we're going to use Amazon S3 as the offload endpoint. Now the first and foremost is to go ahead and create the Amazon bucket. Now in this case, I've already created the bucket. So that said that the second piece, what you need is you would need the access key ID and the secret key. So you can go into your security credentials and get those details from Amazon S3. Once you have these two, all this information, you can head over to the Spectrum Protect Plus, go down to keys and certificates, access, add a new key. In this case, we're going to call it SPP S3 key. And then you go ahead and paste the access key and the secret key and go ahead and hit save. Once you have saved this information, then the next thing in this process would be configuring the cloud endpoint. Now you would go into your dashboard and go to cloud and click on add cloud. Now, once you click this add cloud, this is where you will see there are three endpoints which we are offering. One is the Amazon S3, and then you can name them, just name this connection S3 SPP-S3 offload. And then the region we select as where we had created that bucket. So we select East Virginia. And then you can use the existing key that what we have actually created, the SPP S3 key. And then moment hit get buckets, this is going to query and pick up the bucket that you had created on Amazon S3. And there you go. So you have the SPP AWS S3 bucket, and you go ahead and hit register. So once you hit register, now this registration is completed and you are ready to use this endpoint. Now we head over to the policy overview and we will pick up an existing policy. In this case, we have a silver policy which we want to actually modify. So in this case, as our retention is for 1 week, and this retention is stored on the vSnap that you saw on my presentation. So vSnap is a local repository, so you can quickly recover from this backup which is stored on for a week. So if you come down here in the additional protection section, you have offload to cloud storage. And this is where the offload happens, where all the local copies are offloaded to the S3 bucket. And keep in mind, this is a incremental copy to the cloud at this point. So you would go ahead and select frequency. I want to do this once a week. It happens on Sunday, and I want to retain this for 1 month. So you can come here and select retention would be for 1 month. And then on the right-hand side, you would come and select the cloud servers and drop this down, and this would be the SPP S3. And once you hit save, this is the time it's going to actually select that all the copies from the vSnap will be offloaded every once a week on Sunday at 2 a.m. midnight at night and dump it to the S3 bucket. Now that we have modified the Cellular policy, let's go ahead and manually kick off that backup. So you can go to Jobs and Operations, Policy and Job, and that's your Cellular policy, which was modified. So now we can come here, click on Actions, and click Start. So what happens here? You have two options. One is you can back it up to vSnap, and then also the second option is to offload. Now, keep in mind when I say offload, it is just only the incremental copy goes from the vSnap to the repository. And based on the policy, as in this case, in the Cellular policy, we want to retain that backup for 1 month, and we are only retaining 1 week's worth of the VM backup on the vSnap. So after a week, all that space will be deleted on the vSnap, and then we're retaining the same snapshot on the S3 bucket for a longer term. So now let's go ahead and select backup to vSnap. So, and once we select this, you can expand this, the job SLA, and then click expand that. As you can see, the backup job is running, and it's going to run through and find the virtual disk and the VMs that it has to be protected. So what's doing out here, it's actually going and querying that VM, which is as part of this policy, and it is going to actually create a snapshot, and it will store it on the vSnap. Now, once that VM has been backed up, the next process for us is to go ahead and do this offload, and that again we will be also doing it manually in this for this VM. Since this was a subsequent backup, it was just an incremental backup, and you see that didn't take that long. It just finished. The backup was finished committing back to the vSnap. Now we're going to run the same policy, and at this time, what we're going to do is we're going to actually select the offload, and at this point, it is going to actually offload to the Amazon S3 bucket. So click that offload, and you can see it will pick up the most recent snapshot, and it will run the backup job for offloading. As you can see, the offload has started, and you can see that the sub policy type is offload, and it's actually running right now. So it's created a session to the Amazon S3 bucket, and it is right now offloading it to the Amazon S3 bucket. So this is how you would actually manually run the backup job and offload to Amazon S3 bucket. Now that we saw a successful backup to a vSnap, and then from vSnap we actually offloaded that to Amazon S3. So now the same VM, let's go ahead and hit a restore scenario for that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually restore from the Amazon S3 bucket onto and mount it onto your local ESX host. So for that, you would click on the on your VMware restore, and then since we know the VM name, so we're going to just search and click on this, and then you would say select cloud servers, and to be more precise is for S3 bucket. So that's the VM that we actually recently backed up. So you would click on this blue icon and bring it to the restore bucket. And in the options, now you have 3 different scenarios. So you could do a test, production, or clone. Again, test is just instantaneous mount of that VM onto your ESX host. Production will basically overwrite the existing VM, and the clone is just you're cloning a that to another VM. So those are three different options that you have for this scenario. We are going to use test. We're going to mount this on the original ESX host, and then allow the system and leave all the things at default. Go ahead and hit save, and now we're going to submit the restore job. So we're going to set the restore job, asking you, validating, do you really want to run this job? I say yes, and the job was successfully submitted. So this is your on-demand restore. At this point, what it's doing, it's actually looking the metadata on the local vSnap server, and it is actually doing a quick mount onto your ESX host. And since we store all the metadata on the local vSnap, we don't have to go to the cloud to retrieve that data, because obviously, yes, it's going to cost you money for looking up that data and parsing through and bringing it back. So in this case, since we have all the necessary metadata on the vSnap, we are just going to quickly mount that onto the ESX host. And when we power the VM is when we actually start reading the blocks from the offloaded storage. So uh, as you can see that these on-demand restore has been completed, and the resource is active now. And so in the active resources, you can see that particular VM has been mounted and it's ready to serve data. So from here on, what you need to do is you go to your ESX host, that's where the VM has been mounted. So you go to this is your ESX host. And on the ESX host, you will go down and see where that particular VM has been mounted. So in this case, so we provide a unique ID so that it does not coincide with the existing production VM. So we put a test and then a unique ID against it. To match that, the ending is 9077. And you can see that that's the same thing which is showing up under my SPP consoles is 9077. And here you will just come up and you can right click and just power on this VM. So as it starts to power on, this is the time it actually pulls up the blocks from the. So this is the time it is actually pulling up the blocks from the offload bucket. So this is how you will restore a VM from the S3 bucket. So now that VM has been booted and it's ready for you to log in, so you can send the keystrokes and you can start logging onto this server. So again, keep in mind this recovery might be a little slow because it is actually offloading. It's reading it from the offloaded copy. So depending on the disks and the latency on the network and stuff, will definitely will be a lot much slower than pulling it off of your local vSnap server. Again, thank you very much for watching this video and have a great day.